So I think I've analyzed over 1,000 different niches to build directories in, and I've learned that every single niche has its drawbacks. So that's why I kind of wanted to take a moment and go over a few different things that I find in some of the most low competition, easy to rank niches that will most likely lead to success. So I wanted to provide the 80-20 of all the things that have led me to succeeding in my own directory websites, as well as things that I found from successful niche directories that I've kind of compiled into this list. For the last few months, I've been taking notice of the ideas that you guys have been mentioning in the comments and in the free community that I have, the emails that people send me, and what I've noticed is a lot of these ideas might pass one or two of these filters, but they'll fail in the others. So it actually is harder than you think when it comes to ranking, getting traffic, and monetizing in that niche. By the way, these aren't deal breakers. I've definitely built niches that haven't passed all these filters, but it's definitely going to help you if you just want the lowest competition niche. Maybe you're just getting started with your directory game and you just want to make sure that your first project has the highest likelihood of success. So let's go over these 5 and I'll show you some examples so you know what to look for and what to avoid whenever you're researching your niches. So the first green flag you want to look for is that there are directories ranking on the first page for that keyword. So here you can see I'm just using this as an example, but I have off-grid parking here on Google. So I've clicked on some of these already, but here we see our first directory, which is called freecampsites.net. And it's kind of got this old school vibe to it. We can type in our city, Los Angeles, and this is the directory. So this is overall a great sign already, especially because it looks like it's more or less an individual publisher that might have created this. Now I can't just look at this website without doing a quick search on Ahrefs. So let me take a quick peek. Oh wow, so this is actually a pretty big directory. The website gets 86,000 monthly visitors. I'll probably analyze this in another video because this is very interesting. First time coming across this. But let's not get too distracted. Let's go back to the front page here. So we did see our first directory, which is a great sign. Let's just keep looking to see if we find any other directories. There's Reddit, there's a .gov. This is another directory that I found. So it's ranked 6 for the keyword off-grid parking, which is pretty good. So this is cool. This is another kind of old school looking directory. I'm not going to play around with it too much, but it's obviously clearly a place that is helping people park for the night. So this is exactly what you want to look for. You want to find directories that are already ranking on the first page because it's already proven that it's possible. And we see that free campsites is on the 3rd rank. And then we see park for night as the 6th rank. That's pretty much all we can ask for. Bonus points if these directories that are ranking look like mom and pop operations, right? They're not massive directories. I would say the person who built Park for Night is not an SEO expert, just looking at this meta title. I'll just go out on a limb there. So yeah, you want to look for these types of websites because it doesn't look like a massive company. It looks like someone's personal project and someone created it on their free time. The second green flag you want to look for is that when you're doing your keyword research in Ahrefs, you see a lot of city or state specific keywords that are getting a good amount of monthly search volume. So I'll be using sushi making class as just an example to illustrate this. And it's not necessarily, again, the best niche to build a directory in my opinion. But right off the bat, we can see sushi making class New York City is the 2nd most searched query with a keyword containing sushi making class. And we see this with Chicago, Atlanta, Los Angeles, Boston. So it just keeps going down. The fact that we're seeing these city specific keywords at the very top where it's ranked by the most monthly search volume keywords, it's a really great sign. Now, when we pair that with the low keyword difficulty, 0, 1, 0, it looks even better. I also pay attention to this left side panel here because I try to look for different cities or states that are mentioned. We don't really have to do that because for this example, we see city-specific keywords on the very top, but this is where I usually look for this because it's usually towards the bottom. So if you pause this video and scan this left side panel, you would just see city after city, some states, but mainly a lot of city-specific queries. And yeah, it's not a lot of search volume, right? There's Ohio here, sushi making class in Columbus, Ohio gets 20 monthly searches. The sheer number of them would probably add up to a decent amount of monthly search. And I think this could be a pretty low competition first niche for anyone to go and build a directory in. So the TLDR is to find a keyword plus your city among the highest search volume keywords within your niche. The third filter that you want to run your idea through will sound pretty obvious to some people, but I guarantee you a lot of people are making this mistake, which is to have a low keyword difficulty keyword, but combined with the evidence that the top 10 ranking websites aren't large, massive, authoritative websites, because you probably won't be able to beat them out. So I'll give you an example of what I call a trap niche, which looks amazing on paper, and it's pretty quick to tell that it's actually very, very difficult despite its keyword difficulty. So that keyword is towing capacity. Now look at these low keyword difficulty keywords that thousands of people are searching every single month. And they all have to do with towing capacity for different types of vehicles. So Toyota Tacoma towing capacity, 9,000 monthly searches. Ford Maverick, Jeep Gladiator, F-150. These look beautiful on paper until you actually click on them. So Ford Maverick towing capacity, I'll just choose that as a random example. If we scroll down and see the top 10, I see a top 10 that is more or less completely dominated by different types of Ford websites. And we even have Ford.com here, but we have Ford of Pottstown, Ford.com again. This is some kind of subdomain for Ford. Okay, so it's a PDF. My point is that if you were to go and build a towing capacity directory and cover the Ford Maverick here, you would think that it's a perfect opportunity, but you're really going up against Ford.com. And these are not necessarily going to be easy to outrank. There's already so much built-in trust with the brand. And at the end of the top 10, we do see Cars.com, which is a massive website. So this is just going to be very, very challenging. Look at that, a DR85. This website gets 8.2 million visitors. So Cars.com is leveraging their DR85 website just to get to rank 9 on the first page for Ford Maverick towing capacity. Now, if you're wondering why this is a keyword difficulty 4 still, even though all these big websites dominate the top 10, I think it's looking at the backlinks that these specific web pages are getting. And even if we look at the top ranked one, this one has 4 referring domains and 12 backlinks. The second rank has 0 referring domains and 0 backlinks. So while the individual page might not be getting that many backlinks, the root domain is getting a ton of backlinks and it's super authoritative. So that's why we're seeing kind of a low KD right here. At least that's my theory, and I'm happy to be proven wrong. So if you know, please let me know in the comments. So going back to this list, we see that same trend happen with these other keywords. Toyota Tundra towing capacity here. If we scroll down, we see Clearwater Toyota. Darcars Toyota of Frederick.com. This is another website owned by Toyota. Tundras.com. So this looks like some kind of forum. So that's actually a good sign. Better than the other one where it was just full of Ford websites. Desert Toyota of Tucson, so that is another website here. I think you're getting the point in that low keyword difficulty keywords don't necessarily always mean it's going to be easy to rank. And ideally what I'd like to see are more mom and pop type websites that are on the front page. Now the fourth thing that you want in your ideal directory niche is a crystal clear search intent. And this is another area where people tend to get a little bit confused, maybe make their first big mistake. I was talking to someone in my community who was looking at this keyword, so I appreciate you, Michelle, for letting me use this example. So here we see karaoke near me pulled up. It has a keyword difficulty 8 with 99,000 monthly searches. And after researching it a little bit more, I would say one of the challenges with a niche like this was really dialing in the search intent and the actual user behavior. And the way that we tried to research that was just by going to Reddit, typing in karaoke, let's just type Los Angeles, Reddit. And there are some tells, it's not super clear, but we do see this person's looking for private karaoke rooms. This person's looking for karaoke for a birthday, where I think they have a massive group of 15 to 20 people. Karaoke room for 2 people. Best bars for karaoke. It's not super clear what drives people's decisions when they're choosing one karaoke place to another karaoke place. So this was not a good sign. The second sign of the search intent being a little bit foggy was going to Google Maps and seeing all of these different review tags that were showing up. And here we see soju, Korean, parking prices, rooms. If we go to the next one, we see karaoke, atmosphere, tacos, margaritas, and it just kind of changes with every single location, right? Here we see whiskey, foosball, happy hour, boar. I don't even know. The idea here is that there's just a lot of different things that people look for when they're looking at karaoke bars. What I'd like to see is kind of the reoccurring review tags happen over and over and over again so that we can get an idea of what people kind of universally look for in a karaoke bar. I agree that this keyword looks great on paper, but if we look at this side panel that I just referenced in a previous filter, we don't see a lot of city or state specific keywords. A lot of them actually have to do with karaoke songs, karaoke song list, best karaoke song. So if I were to build a directory here, I would probably look at a directory for karaoke songs rather than karaoke bars or karaoke places. So the fifth and last filter that you want in your ideal directory niche is that you want a competitor to have kind of mom and pop backlinks that you can eventually steal. This one's pretty straightforward if you understand the value of backlinks and how to go and get quality backlinks, but essentially having your backlinks full of these small mom and pop publishers, it makes it easier to go and reach out to them for a potential link swap, and that's a very viable way to go and build these high quality backlinks. So let's say I was building a thrift store directory, even though this looks pretty competitive, and I wanted to find other thrift store directories that I would be competing with. The thriftshopper.com would be an example of a competitor. So what I'd want to do is just take this URL, go to Ahrefs, look it up on the Site Explorer, and I would want to take a look at their backlinks. So this is a pretty small thrift store directory here, but I'd be interested to see if there are any backlinks from smaller publishers that I can then go and reach out to later on when I fully build out my thrift store directory. So this is one of their best backlinks here, and I can tell it's probably not a small publisher, but we can click on it to take a look. And the article itself, just based on the design, looks like it could be, but when I click on the homepage, this looks more in sync with like an online media brand. And we can see that with the domain rating, it's a 79, and the entire website domain gets 127,000 monthly visits. So this is not exactly what we want to see. So I would just kind of scroll down and look for others. Peerspace will be a big website, and let's look at Einstein Vintage. So this looks like a small business, so it's not bad, and I would consider reaching out if I wanted to link build for this directory, but let's just keep looking to see if there are any others. So this is a good example. I mean, the website itself doesn't look like it's ran by a mom and pop necessarily, but it looks small enough where it might be likely to contact the owner of this website or the team behind this website. The point of this fifth filter is really to identify websites where you know with some degree of confidence you could contact and get in touch with a decision maker. So I would say this qualifies, and that's going to help our link building strategy in the future. So that is something that you want to look for. So if the directory niche that you're building in passes all of these 5 filters, I wouldn't say it's a guarantee that you're going to succeed, but I'd say you have a very good chance at ranking for your target keywords, which is only going to lead to traffic and monetization potential down the line. And looking back to all the directories that I built that are successful, they passed all these 5 filters with flying colors. So I know that these niches exist out there. So it's definitely more rare, but that comes with having higher standards. And I would recommend, if you're looking for something actually low competition, these are the indicators that you want to look for. All right, so I hope this was helpful. And if you found any signals or indicators for yourself that give you a clue to what a low competition niche is, I would love to hear it from you in the comments section below. So with that, I hope you have a great day. Hope you're building something cool, and I'll catch you in another video. See ya.